and welcome to the first video in the brackets and factorising topic of national fund. Okay, so looking at what we're trying to learn today, three things you need to be able to do: expand brackets by multiplying two binomials together, so that's two brackets with two separate things in them, and then being able to simplify terms, how to multiply the brackets, and lastly being able to expand and simplify more complicated expressions with brackets more specifically. Okay, so just a quick recap from the National 4 level. To expand the bracket by a single term, okay, so we've only got a bracket with one thing in front. We simply multiply each term inside the bracket by that term. So in the first one there, we're going to have 4 multiplied by 2x, so that will give me 8x. And then secondly, 4 multiplied by 3 is going to give me 12. So that is the same as 4 bracket 2x plus 3, but written without the brackets. Okay, secondly here, we get an x in front of that bracket, so it's x multiplied by 3x. So 3 is not doing anything else with numbers. X multiplied by x is an x squared. Okay, remember multiplying something by itself is the same as squaring it. And then x multiplied by y, they're different things, so we just write xy. Okay, now what we're going to look at now is when it changes. And instead of having just a singular thing, just a 4 or just an x in front of a bracket, you have two things. So in this example A, in front of that x plus 5, you have both an x and an x plus 1. Okay, so to multiply this out of the brackets, we're going to multiply firstly everything in that second bracket by the x. So x times x is x squared, and x times 5 is 5x. Okay, secondly, we're going to take that 1 and multiply everything in the second bracket. So 1 times x is just x, and 1 times 5 is 5. So that's how we expand out brackets when you have two binomials there. So just two brackets multiplied together. Then you'll notice these two x's can simplify. So that x squared, nothing else happening with x squareds. So you just leave it. 5x plus x is 6x. And then the plus 5, nothing else happening with just digits. So it's just x squared plus 6x plus 5. And the second one here, firstly, your y multiplies by both things. So y times 2y is 2y squared. Y times 1 is just a single y. Then you've got negative 3, to be very careful of that negative, times 2y. So negative times positive gives you a negative 6y. And then negative 3 times 1 is negative 3. Okay, so 2y squared. The plus y take away 6y is a negative 5y, and then negative 3 at the end. Okay, now I like to call this my rainbows. Use my rainbows to multiply everything in that first bracket multiplies everything in the second bracket. Okay, now you get a lot more practice in class, but just to have a look at a couple trickier examples. Okay, here in example C, the one thing that's changed is in that second bracket, it's no longer a binomial, there's 3 different terms there. Okay, and there's not going to be too much difference here. There's just going to be an extra rainbow, if you like. That x multiplies by everything in that second bracket. So x times x squared is x cubed, or x or little 3. X times 4x is 4x squared, and x times negative 2 is negative 2. Okay, then you've got your negative 1 multiplying the 3 things as well. So negative 1 times x squared is negative x squared. Negative 1 times positive 4x is negative 4x. And negative 1 times negative 2 is a positive 2. Okay, to simplify, we've got an x cubed term at the start, and nothing else happening with x cubes. With our squares, we've got a 4x squared, and then we take away an x squared. So that's plus 3x squared. Your negative 4x, well actually, I've made a mistake there. That x, that third term there, apologies. X multiplied by negative 2 is negative 2x. Well done if you spotted that. So negative 2x take away 4x is negative 6x, and then plus 2 at the end. Okay, apologies there. So just to recap, x times x squared is x cubed, x times 4x is 4x squared, and x times negative 2 is negative 2x. Okay, I'm just going to tidy that up a wee second. Okay, then your negative 1 times x squared is negative x squared, negative 1 times 4x is negative 4x, and negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. So that is your final answer there. Okay, now For example D here, you'll notice very quickly that there's now 3 different brackets. Okay, now the same way, if we had 3 numbers multiplied together, 2 times 4 times 3, you would simply multiply 2 numbers together first and then multiply by your third. We're going to do exactly the same here. Now what I would tend to do, doesn't really matter, remember multiplying can happen in any order, I would multiply the second 2 brackets together here. Okay, so g minus 1 multiplied by g plus 2, just to do a little bit of rough work at the side. G times g is g squared. G times 2 is a positive 2g. Minus 1 times g is minus g. And minus 1 times positive 2 is negative 2. So that simplifies to g squared plus g minus 2. Okay, and you can see there we're dealing with something very similar to what we just dealt with in that first question. Now you've got just a double bracket and then a triple bracket, or a binomial and a trinomial. So g multiplies by everything in there. So your rainbows come from the g cubed plus g squared minus 2g. And then just plus 1 times everything, not going to change very much. 1 times g squared is just g squared, 1 times g is g, and 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. Nothing happening with the g cubes apart from just that first one. G squared plus g squared is plus 2g squared. And then minus 2g plus g is minus 1g, or just minus g, and then the minus 2 at the end, just minus 2. Okay, so that's your final answer. This was just a bit of rough working. Okay, so that is multiplying out brackets. Okay, so being able to expand brackets by multiplying 2 binomials together, that's the most common, but it can go beyond that. Being able to simplify the terms after you've done your multiplication, and then lastly, more complicated expressions such as 2 things in a bracket multiplied by a 3 or 3 separate brackets. Okay, thanks for listening.